Welcome back! In this video, we are going to conclude our series about the exchanges of carbon between the atmosphere and the biosphere. Remember, in the previous video, we talked about photosynthesis, which consists of plants taking carbon from the atmosphere to turn it into sugar. Today, we will explore together how plants are using the carbon contained in the sugar, glucose, to produce energy and to grow. Let's start with energy production, which is done thanks to the process of respiration. Here's the grocery list for this task: sugar and oxygen. Sugar. We've got it. It's been produced via photosynthesis. We've also got oxygen. It is one of the gases present in the atmosphere. The plant can capture oxygen from the atmosphere through the small holes on the surface of its leaves, called stomata. After being gulped up by the stomata, oxygen is transported to cells. Inside the cells, they contain an organelle called mitochondria. This is where respiration takes place within the cell. Mitochondria are present in both animal cells and plant cells. When the oxygen arrives to the mitochondria, it undergoes several processes. All these processes enable the oxygen to react with sugar and create energy called ATP. Yay, respiration! ATP is the energy that will allow plants' cells to do their work to allow plants to live. ATP is not the only product of this reaction. Along with it, water and carbon dioxide are produced. That's where carbon comes in, from the sugar that was used to produce ATP. So, the plant is producing carbon along with producing ATP. During the day, photosynthesis is more dominant than respiration since the sun is out, allowing photosynthesis to occur. And since photosynthesis requires carbon dioxide for the reaction, more carbon dioxide is absorbed than released. During the night, there is no sun, so there is no photosynthesis. Instead, carbon that is part of the sugar made within plants is released into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide and is not absorbed. Now that we have seen how during respiration sugar helps the plant to create ATP, let's look at how the sugar is used by the plant to grow. If we take a closer look at a plant cell, we can see the structure right here, which is called the cell wall. The cell wall is made of cellulose. You can think of cellulose as a chain. Each link would be a molecule of glucose. Glucose molecules are linked together in a specific way to form cellulose. Cellulose chains will link together to form a wall. You can imagine this linkage to look like a wall of chainmail. By creating more cellulose, the plant will grow. Glucose molecules can be seen in different forms. As you can see here, these molecules are still glucose, but slightly vary, almost like a set of twins who are a little different, since one of them has a mole. The different associations of twin-like molecules of glucose in various linkages will form different molecules. To illustrate it, we can compare those molecules to chains again. If you take a look at these two chains, you can see that one is flat and the other one is not. And yet they are made of the same elements. This is because those elements are not linked together the same way. This is exactly the same for glucose. If linked a certain way, it forms starch, which is a way for some plants, like potatoes, to store glucose if surrounding conditions, like temperature, humidity, and light, don't allow the plant to thrive and create more glucose. Other plants, like onion or beets for example, are combining glucose with another type of sugar, called fructose, creating another type of sugar, saccharose. And you know saccharose very well. This is the sugar you put in your cakes, candies, and coffee. This type of glucose can also be used by the plant as storage for its seeds. The seeds can therefore germinate thanks to the energy provided by the glucose. Plants can also transform the glucose to create toxic compounds in order to protect themselves from phytophagous organisms, to create bright colors, and attract pollinators. Thanks for following the adventure of carbon throughout plants. If you have a little bit of extra time, take a look at our other series about carbon in soil and carbon in water.